Are you ready to be truly frightened? We're about to delve into 5 real accounts of terror that happened in the dead of night. These stories are not for the faint of heart. Viewer discretion is advised. Our first story takes us to a quiet suburban home, where a young woman named Sarah was home alone, settling down for the night. It was 3 a.m., the witching hour, when she heard it. A sharp, insistent knocking at the front door. Now who could possibly be calling at this hour? Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. Peeking through the peephole, she saw nothing. Just the empty porch, illuminated by the dim porch light. Must have been some kids messing around, she thought, but the knocking came again, louder this time. Sarah's hand trembled as she reached for the doorknob. Mustering a burst of courage, she threw open the door, ready to confront the pranksters, but there was still no one there, just the unsettling silence of the night. Shaken but determined to find an explanation, Sarah stepped outside, scanning the street. Nothing, no moving cars, no lurking figures. The neighborhood was eerily still. That's when she noticed it. A single white rose lying on her doorstep. A shiver ran down her spine. Where did this come from? Who left it here? And what did it mean? Sarah never found out. The midnight visitor remained a mystery, a chilling reminder that some things are better left unexplained. Our next tale plunges us into the world of the unexplained, a realm where shadows dance and fear takes hold. Imagine this. You're alone in your room, the only light emanating from your computer screen. You glance up and for a fleeting moment you catch a flicker of movement in the corner of your eye. You turn your head, but there's nothing there. Just the usual shadows cast by your furniture. You shrug it off, chalking it up to your imagination. But as the night wears on, those fleeting glimpses become more frequent. The shadow seems to shift and move when you're not directly looking at it. It's as if it's aware of your gaze, lurking just beyond your field of vision. Paranoia sets in. Is it your mind playing tricks on you? Or is there something truly sinister lurking in the darkness? You try to rationalize it, but the unease gnaws at you. Every time you look away, you can't shake the feeling that the shadow is growing bolder, inching closer. You're trapped in a terrifying game of cat and mouse with an entity you can't even confirm exists. Sleep becomes impossible. You're left in a constant state of hypervigilance, your eyes darting around the room searching for any sign of movement. The shadow in the corner becomes your tormentor, a constant reminder that sometimes the things we can't see are the most frightening of all. All right, let's delve into the Whispering Woods, a place where nature decides to play tricks on your ears. 2 hikers, let's call them Brad and Janet, were venturing through a particularly dense forest. Now Brad and Janet, they were seasoned hikers. They knew their trails, they knew their gear, they knew how to survive in the wilderness, or so they thought. As they walked, they started hearing whispers. Faint at first, like the wind rustling through the leaves, but gradually becoming more distinct. Imagine you're surrounded by trees, the sunlight barely reaching the forest floor, and you hear voices, but you can't see anyone. Creepy, right? Well, it gets worse. These whispers, they seem to be calling Brad and Janet's names, tempting them off the trail. Now Brad, he was a practical guy. He wanted to ignore the voices, stick to the trail. But Janet, she was curious. She felt drawn to the whispers. Against Brad's better judgment, they ventured deeper into the woods, following the ethereal voices. You know, it's like that saying, curiosity killed the cat, but in this case it just led them in circles. They walked for hours, the whispers getting louder, more insistent, but they couldn't find the source. Eventually they realized they were hopelessly lost. The sun was setting and those whispers, they were starting to sound threatening. All right, buckle up, because this next story takes us on a classic road trip, but with a spooky twist. We're talking about the vanishing hitchhiker, a tale as old as time, or at least as old as cars. Our story takes place on a desolate highway where a lone driver spots a solitary figure thumbing a ride. Now, being a good Samaritan, or maybe just bored out of their mind, our driver pulls over. The hitchhiker, often described as a young woman, gets in, and they chat, normal carpool stuff, but then things get weird. At some point the driver glances over and poof, the hitchhiker is gone, vanished into thin air, like a ghost in the passenger seat. Some say these vanishing hitchhikers are spirits trying to get home. Others think there's something more sinister. Whatever they are, they definitely know how to make an exit. Let's be honest, dolls are creepy. There's something about those lifeless eyes that just screams, I'm going to come to life and haunt you. And in this story, that's exactly what happens. We're talking about haunted dolls, those porcelain playthings with a penchant for the paranormal. This story centers around a seemingly ordinary doll, maybe a childhood toy or a dusty antique. But this is no ordinary doll. This doll moves. It changes positions. It appears in different rooms, even when no one's touched it. Some say these dolls are possessed by spirits, using the doll as a vessel. Others believe the dolls themselves become imbued with energy, taking on a life of their own. Whatever the reason, one thing's for sure, if your doll starts rearranging itself, it might be time to move. Well, there you have it, 5 terrifying tales of the night. Are they just stories, or is there something more to these encounters? Maybe it's best not to think about it too much, just try to get some sleep. Music slowly fades out. Whisper, sleep tight and keep the lights on. Soft echo effect.